Hello, welcome to this week's edition of More Insights and Strategy, the Enterprise App Podcast. We're on episode 12. I'm Robert Kramer with Melody Brew. We're both VP and Principal Analysts at More Insights and Strategy. I cover data, ERP, SCM, and Mel covers modern work, HCM, CX, and other things appropriate to data and workplace. So on this show, we're going to talk about tools, trends, trajectories, and people and marketing technologies, enterprise apps, ERP, CRM, and the glue that holds it all together. We talk about it all the time is data. So we'll be talking this week show about free Google AI tools for college students, which is kind of interesting. New AI foundations in the Google Data Cloud. Also talking about Salesforce. They just made a recent acquisition that should help out with their analytics. And then we'll be talking about Workvivo on the frontline gaps, plus updates for Microsoft, RingCentral, ServiceNow, and Zoom. So quick disclaimer, and we'll turn it over to Mel. This show is for information and entertainment purposes only. While we'll discuss publicly traded companies on the show, its contents should not be taken as investment advice. So let's get started. Mel, how are we doing today? What do we have that's top of mind for you?
Yeah, doing great. And I love that we're back on this good cadence of our tracks. We finally had a couple of weeks off the road and gearing up for, I've got 7 straight weeks on the road coming up. And I know you've got a ton of travel, so we'll have to do some remote podcasting and get all the scoop.
I know the summer gave us a little bit of a chance to refresh from a pretty intense spring, and now we're back at it in the fall, but it's exciting and there's a lot of great topics. I know the companies that we cover have been making a lot of big moves, so excited to hear a little bit more about it today.
Yeah, so first on our list today is Google's new AI education initiative. So they announced this earlier this month. It gives college students in the US, Brazil, Indonesia, Japan, and South Korea a full 12 months of free access to Google AI Pro. So this includes Gemini 2.5 Pro for advanced reasoning, research summarization, deep research, Notebook LM, which I love. If you haven't tried that, it's actually so fun, but it's really helpful. It can make a podcast for you if you want.
Really?
Yeah, it's really cool. But also the VO3 model for text to video generator and Jules, the coding assistant. So students also get Google Drive storage and access to new guiding learning modes. So education, problem solving, applying to those concepts rather than just like delivering the final answers. You know, when you get into like the Gen AI, prompting and answer mode, it actually helps with the problem, walking through the problem solving. So really learning.
So I guess the eligibility is tied to being at least 18 years old, right? Enrolled in an institution. And I think you have to be signed up by this fall, which is October. They have October 6th is the deadline. But this isn't just a free trial. Google has $1 billion invested. I think it's $1 billion in 3-year commitment to AI education and job training. It's a big deal for the AI education and job training, so you know how to use it. So these are paired. They're pairing the tools with Google career certificates and free AI skills training. So I think this is pretty substantial. And there's already more than 100 colleges participating in this.
Yeah, Google says that it's not just about giving the AI, but really it's preparing for this next generation to grow up alongside generative AI so that they graduate with the AI fluency that they can use from day one in the workforce. It's smart.
And they're not alone. IBM's Skills Build program offers free AI literacy training, hands-on labs, via watsonx, mainframe integration through watsonx Assistant for Z, and has already graduated over 400 students across 13 countries. So Adobe runs a discounted student program for its Adobe AI Assistant, and then also the Creative Cloud, which is to build familiarity with creative industries standards. So I think there's a bunch of companies that we covered that are really participating with these college programs.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes sense. Like you said, Adobe does a ton of that. They do a lot of discounted plus free for students. Canva has been doing this for a really long time, this free premium features to universities. So, and Microsoft gives Copilot 65 educational discounts and security training. Zoho, as you know, has Zoho Schools and Zoho Glasses that applied skills training and mentorship. So it really makes sense for them to get these tools in the hands of students, and it's not just like a PR thing or even a social responsibility thing. There's really actually a reason behind it, a business case reason behind it.
Right. And, so the competitive logic is somewhat straightforward because the students get, more familiar with the platform they use, and then they can advocate for it, which is huge. And it's professional, and their research shows the familiarity with the UI speeds and the adoption to help them ramp up. So from the I do teach at a university as a professor, not to kind of talk about a different subject, but I think it's super important for the kids, the students, to understand how to use AI, because it has to be something that does not take them in a direction where they're not learning. So that it has to be used as an asset, is kind of like the new Google, that they can get their research and then be able to use it as a part of their studies, not to compensate. But I think
Yeah.
that all these different vendors are doing something to help out with the students.
That I think that's the big reason why it matters to enterprise leaders is that these graduates, like starting in 2027, if we're looking at this particular class, um, they're going to join the workforce already fluent in not just AI, but in a specific platform's AI. So this matters for hiring the kind of new generation of the workforce. And I heard somebody, actually, I think it was Aaron Levy from Box, who said, if you learn, like college students and even high school students, like my boys, they need to be learning every single thing they can about AI right now. They need to be playing with models. They need to be getting familiar with it, because you get into a workforce where people are kind of still learning,
Hmm.
and they're still maybe somewhat a little bit hesitant. And as we talk about all the time, work or change management. If you get into a situation where you are already so fluent in AI that you just go like full on gangbusters, it's like you have this superpower, right?
Right.
So anyway, I think it's a smart move, and I think we'll see a lot more of it. And actually, I'll be publishing a little something about that and what kind of the change, the shift that went from being banned on campus to now it being kind of universities being a big part of the AI arms race. So
So, quick question for you, and
yeah,
this is kind of a fun question. You have, kids going to college, right? This next week,
yeah.
and what are you telling them from an AI perspective?
I've had my kids using AI even when it was banned. And and I think they have to be taught to use it smartly, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want them using it to cheat, which I think that was the big fear until the world realized, and you know, not to like pat myself on the back, but I realized quickly that this was not just about having it do something for you. This is about having kind of this really smart assistant, that can help you. And the advancements just keep coming every single day. So my kids, I've been telling them all the time, use AI as much as you can, use it to create documents, use it to research, use it to challenge yourself, use it to learn, because I do want them entering into college and into the workforce, having the ability to be like, just the familiarity with it enough is the ability to then understand how to use it, when to use it, maybe when not to use it, like we discussed yesterday in sports.
Yeah,
So
but on the university side, they need guardrails, so how do they want the students to use it instead of not having definition on what the parameters are? So I think it goes both ways, what the parents need to tell their kids and then what the universities need to do. And I think it's still being defined, and that's kind of why they banned it and now it's back. And then it's not as established as far as what the guardrails are, but I think it's a plus in the end.
Yeah, I think the big fear around cheating needs to be like kind of demystified because there's also tools that can figure out, like, did AI write this? Nobody wants
Yeah.
to be writing their papers, although you've made a very good point about like university students, if they're paying for their education, sometimes their parents are paying for it, sometimes they're paying for it, and they're cheating, they're just cheating themselves, you know? It, it, but there's so much more to it than just generating text. And so that's where I really want them to understand is, and this is sort of, we can move on to our next with Google Data Cloud, with the new AI agents and AI foundations, is they need to understand agents. They need to understand workflows. They need to understand prompts. It's more than just generating an essay for them. So I think, if you look at what Google just did, they launched new 6 AI agents for data teams. This isn't cheating. This lets you automate pipeline creations, migrations, data exploration, generate code, even ML workflows. So all through natural language prompts in BigQuery and Vertex AI. That's not cheating. That's different than just writing an essay for you.
I mean, exactly what you just said. You want these agents that are created to help with those mundane tasks, to be more efficient, to help the workers be more strategic. So I like what Google has done, and like you said, they've updated the data cloud with a focus on making AI agents part of the work routine. And 2 of them that I really like, one of them is the data engineering agent. It automates common BigQuery tasks like bringing new data sets, cleaning and transforming them, and joining them together. All these can be started with a simple natural language request. The second is the data science agent. It's built on Gemini and connected to BigQuery and Vertex AI. It can guide the users through full access analytics processes, exploring data, preparing features, running machine learning predictions, and showing each step so the results are verified. Like you said, it's bringing these agents into the workforce, but it's not cheating. It's doing work that I think that the humans have saw that it takes so much time. It's not efficient, and the collaboration, I think, really is exciting.
Yeah, and I don't think any of my kids are going to go into business intelligence, but this is the type of thing that it reduces major barriers between the operational side and the analytical data. So you're streamlining these migrations, embedding real-time analysis, and I think this could really challenge traditional BI tools that aren't evolving fast enough.
Right. So, and they're not the only company that's doing this. So Microsoft Fabric, plus Copilot and Power BI is targeting the same space. Salesforce is working on something similar, transitioning with their latest acquisition, which we'll jump into, I guess, right now.
Yeah, what's going on with that? I saw
We were
you did a
talking.
post about it.
Yeah, so Salesforce has agreed to purchase a company called, they say it's WAII. We think it's Y is how you pronounce it. So they've agreed to acquire Waii, a platform that converts natural language to SQL queries and uses semantic knowledge graphs. And that's the big deal for the context. They plan to embed it into the data cloud and Tableau next and Agentforce. So it's I think was expected based upon some of the other IT companies, what they've been doing.
So is this to solve kind of the last mile problem, like getting these actionable insights to business teams without actually having to go through to like a technical intermediary?
Yeah, and the innovation is agent-driven workflows, so the insights can feed into autonomous actions like updating dashboards, triggering campaigns, or flagging workflow changes instantly. So if you compare it to Google and Microsoft's AI enhanced analytic tools, Salesforce, by buying it, they put it into their own space. If they move quickly to integrate it, they can leapfrog some of their rivals, tightening, embedding the conversational analytics. So it's more of that into the customer-facing workflows. So this could be attractive to the enterprises looking for an all-in-one engagement and intelligent stack. Fewer vendors, more integration, and I think that they wanted to buy this because they wanted the other companies not to be able to have it. But it's an all-in-one engagement, intelligence stack, fewer vendors, like I said, but beyond the potential vendor consolidation, this signals Salesforce intent to stay more relevant and competitive as the analytics landscaping is changing more towards autonomous. And, we're seeing that automation being the main thing. So with why Salesforce is attempting to deliver not just insights, but the ability to have those with, like we've always been talking about, that less human intervention. And we've always been talking about Industry 5.0. It gives that human, robot collaboration where it's more strategic for the humans, which we want to get to as much as we can. So to technically integrate WISE into their semantic graph capabilities, they want to be able to do that with the Data Cloud and Tableau, which are their real big products, and then get it into Agentforce. So Google and Microsoft are both investing heavily with their capabilities that they have, and we'll see further acquisitions, I would think, from other players within this space. But I think the adoption is the big thing. Will customers embrace this from an AI driven analytics? Will there be resistance? Is there data quality problems? We talk about data quality all the time and change management. How easy is this to use? So how well Salesforce integrates this could shape how this all goes forward with other competition and how they move forward with this technology. What are your thoughts on that before we hit the next one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what happens over the next, several quarters and how this like true agent adoption is going to carry out. I mean, Salesforce does a really good marketing job of, kind of touting their agents, and they've even gone, on this Agentforce tour and had people, get their hands in the dirt, as Benioff says, and really do it. So I think they are really pushing this on the agent front. I think we still have, across all enterprise, we're going to have somewhat of a learning curve and change management, and we'll see, what the adoption looks like over the next couple of cycles. But I published this actually 2 days ago, my analysis of this Workvivo study that identifies this major frontline gap. So Workvivo is an employee platform company that was acquired by Zoom maybe 2 years ago. They still call it Workvivo by Zoom, but I feel like it's a very separate part of the business and probably kept that way on purpose. But it's a great platform. They've had a lot of traction. The cross-selling opportunities between Workvivo and Zoom seem to be really great based on my last meetings with them at Zoom Perspectives. But the Workvivo platform, not Zoom, released a global survey of 7,500 non-desk employees across various industries. So what we're seeing is just a substantial disconnect between frontline and office-based staff. So frontline meaning they're not desk-based. These are often, healthcare, retail, construction. These are people who sometimes don't even have a company email. So the communication gap can be pretty big, but what they found was around half of the frontline workers cannot name their CEO. Not sure how big of a deal that is if you're looking at like a really large company. There's some that are very clear because they're very public and they're out there, but let's say, whatever, that's still, you maybe should know the name of the CEO that you work for. But 87%, which is a very large number, are unsure if their company culture even applies to them. They say they hear about company culture, but they don't experience in their workday.
Wow, that's a pretty big gap. So what are they saying about the communication tools specifically?
I mean, that's really that's where we have to bridge the gap. So 2/3 say that their current communication platforms don't fit their needs. Half think that they were actually created with office workers in mind. Only 13% see a clear path ahead. So if we're looking at half of them are unhappy with leadership communications, only 10% believe managers understand their day-to-day reality, and 70% of them want more transparency around company decisions.
So why does this closing that gap matter so much for these enterprises, though?
So look at what the frontline workers do. They are often just the backbone of operations. They're retail clerks, as I mentioned, healthcare staffs, logistics crews, hospitality teams, transportation operators, and you name it. They're quite literally the face of the brand for the customers. So their engagement has a direct impact on customer service, loyalty, brand reputation. You can see there's a ton of studies that say like even one bad interaction with a brand will turn somebody off from that brand. So when that frontline staff doesn't feel valued or doesn't feel equipped, you see it reflected in their service quality, the operation stability, and then that whole part of the workforce has a very high turnover rate. So flip that, and well-supported frontline teams, they're going to drive smoother operations, more consistent customer service, and better resiliency. So it's an absolute, like, this is a must fix gap.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's not just an HR initiative. It's really the
100%.
core to the business performance. Employees
Yeah.
are like everything, right? So that would make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So the study shows, and this is, actually pretty obvious, that failing to address this recognition, communication, and career advancement for frontline workers is an operational risk. So you risk the quality of your customer facing interactions are. So companies like Microsoft, ServiceNow, RingCentral, I mean, there's almost like any communications company, you name it, they've got it. They have tools that they are tailoring for frontline needs. So this AI powered communications, like real-time alerts, skills matching, shift-based chats, there's all kinds of technology that's helping to bridge this gap, and it definitely is something that's super important and needs to be addressed.
Great. So if there's one takeaway this week, it's that whether we're talking about students or analysts or executives or frontline staff, vendors, it seems that they're really racing to close the gap between data insights and action and efficiencies to make sure those are all happening within their ecosystem, right? So let's
Yeah.
take a quick look as we take what we got going on for next week. We'll be digging into something I'm really excited about is Oracle's new AI-embedded electronic health record platform. It's a major development within the healthcare IT with lots of regulatory and operational implications. And it's probably going to be changing with the competition that they have, the healthcare industry, and what access they have to different types of records and care.
Yes, we will also have a big announcement about Adobe Acrobat that actually I'm really excited about. This is probably the nerdiest thing I've said out loud in a long time, but I am a huge Acrobat fan. I use it constantly, and actually I've taught my kids to use it. The AI assistant within Acrobat, you can take any PDF and basically just talk to it. So we'll break that down along with a bunch of other new news in workplace productivity and enterprise collaboration. The opportunities and the competition in all these spaces are certainly accelerating, but that is it for episode 12. Thanks for joining us. As usual, please like and subscribe. We love to hear your feedback. Leave us any, if you have any, let us know if you want to talk about something else. And thanks for joining us so much, Melody Brew and Robert Kramer, and we will see you next time.